The lab. Team Rocket is at it again. You must stop them. Compared to this, slowpoke tales are nothing. You hear these things and you know with certainty that you must stop Team Rocket, no matter what. You and your Pokemon journey far and wide, until you come across the secret entrance in the middle of Lavender Tower's first floor. It is a trap door, and you just narrowly fit through it. Beneath the trap door is a spiral staircase, seeming to go in the very center of the earth. The light of the torches on the wall cast a sinister red tint on every inch of this place. You know you must go on. Team Rocket must be stopped. Besides, how bad could it be? As you near the bottom of the stairs, you start to hear it. A faint bubbling sound, like the sound of a boiling liquid. There is a door in front of you. From the looks of it, it is specially sealed so no sound or scent can escape. You puzzle this, but open the door anyways, and are immediately attacked with the most horrible scent you have ever smelled. Your eyes burn and water, and for a second, you can't see a thing. But then your vision clears, and you realize that it's not the scent of a horde of mucks, but the scent of boiling flesh. You gag as you see a large white tank, obviously the source of the odor. There's something in there. As you walk towards the tank, a loud buzzer sounds, and a second later you hear the cry of a Jigglypuff, and then hear a splash. You're forced to hear the agonizing screams of a Pokemon as it is boiled alive. You risk a look, and you are right. The water is a muddy red with floating chunks of meat in it. You force yourself to hold it together, and somehow you manage to do so. This is an all-time low for Team Rocket, and it sickens you. You force yourself to look around and you see a door off to the side, behind the tank. You hurriedly rush over, unable to stand the stench of boiling Pokemon flesh and the sight of this horrendous device. As you close the door, the buzzer sounds again, and this time it is the cry of a Pikachu. You shudder and almost vomit there. You clutch the Pokeball with your own Pikachu inside of it, and press on. The next room is filled with the agonized cry of Pokemon, a symphony of screams. The first thing that catches your eye is a cage with a Vaporeon in it, and it was hopping around in an odd way. And when its paws landed on the metal floor of the cage, you understood why. An electric arc of current would snap up once the paws got close enough, and for a split second, the Pokemon would tense up and open its mouth, as if wanting to cry out. And then it was in the air again. Its fur was sticking out all over the place. You turn your head away just to see a group of Bellsprout going up in flames from a flamethrower in the wall. Then an automatic fire extinguisher is activated, and the charred Pokemon are no longer aflame until the flamethrower starts up again. You turn, unable to stomach this anymore. You vomit, spewing your lunch everywhere. You watch in disgust as a small, weak-looking Growlithe in a small cage strains at the bars, lapping at the air, trying to lick up your vomit. This Pokemon looks as if it hasn't eaten in a long time and it can't even stand up anymore. Or perhaps the cage is just too small. You turn and run, almost running into a large tank full of water. This one was not boiling, but it was clear, and inside you could see several Geodudes struggling to swim, fighting for their lives, but their bodies were too heavy, and you knew they would just die. Just like the other Geodudes, the lifeless ones scattered amongst the living. All around you, Pokemon are being tortured, and you are helpless. Utterly helpless. You know you must go on, though, for you cannot stomach the sight of all of this torture. Another door, this one slightly ajar. You have no choice but to move forward. Oh, but you wish you didn't. The door slams shut behind you, and an automatic locking mechanism locks you in. You're in a dimly lit hallway, and the walls, floor, and ceiling are painted black. As you step forward, a panel on the wall is suddenly lit up. It is a glass panel, probably a one-way mirror. You can see everything as a masked man in a lab coat runs a scalpel along Andino's stomach. This Andino is strapped to a metal table by the looks of it, very conscious of this procedure. You quickly turn your head away, but another panel lights up, and in this room you see a Squirtle, and two people this time. One is holding the squirming Pokemon down, as the other has a hammer and a chisel. You are frozen in fear and slightly curious. And then you see them attempt to crack open the Squirtle's shell. You hurry down the hall, and on each side of you, new panels light up. One with just a Pharaoh strapped to the wall, its stomach ripped open, guts falling out, already dead. one with two men dragging an indignated Machop and hitting it when it pulled away. On and on these mutilations were revealed to you, until at last you got to the end of the hallway, trying not to look at the Chansey being dissected, or the Machamp in a weights room, forced to lift weights and grow stronger, muscles obviously tearing through the skin. You wrench open the door and come face to face with Giovanni himself. "Why, hello," he says, smiling. "Like what you see?" You shake your head and take a step back. Giovanni follows. "You see, we at Team Rocket want to see if we can make a super Pokémon. I know Mewtwo was created by us, but we want to do better than that. We want to create the ultimate Pokémon, but one that obeys me. All of the research got destroyed in the fire that Mewtwo had caused, so we have to start over. And you won't stand in my way, will you?" He asked, the last two words forceful. He pulled a Pokeball out of his pocket, almost like he was anticipating that you would instinctively reach down for your Pokeballs on your belt. He stepped forward into the room, and you back up, throwing out your first Pokemon. You hear the familiar cry of your beloved Pikachu, and glare at Giovanni. "This isn't right," you say, before he sends out his own Pokemon. You and your Pokemon gasp when they first see the Pokemon that appears. It looks almost like an Entei, with the same face and paws, but it has the tail of a Flygon, the body of a Galvantula, and many gashes, bloody spots, and stitches. This is a prototype, but it works well in the event a brat like you shows up, Giovanni explained, pointing at your Pikachu. The Entei creature rushed forwards, moving fast for something that looked as awkward as that. It bit down hard on your Pikachu's head, and your beloved Pokemon gave a cry, struggling to free itself from the creature's jaws. You fumbled with the Pokeball, which had dropped to the floor, and you look up to see your Pikachu's head get crushed by the creature's massive jaws. You hear the crunch and see as blood and bits of brain squirt at the back of your Pikachu's head. "No!" you cry out, too numb still to cry, but still feeling agony. You turn to run, but come face to face with another spliced creature. This one looks like a mix between Alakazam, Arbok, and Dustox. It uses Psychic, and you see your Pokeballs all float into the air and release your most prized Pokemon. They look around in terror. Some see the now abandoned body of Pikachu and start to panic. Some try to fight, but the Entei creature gobbles them up, one by one, each Pokemon crushed in the creature's jaws, bursting like an overripe tomato. Now you are truly alone, surrounded by the bodies of Pokemon you once called your friends. You scream hoping someone hears you, but it's useless. The Kadabra Arbok hybrid slithers towards you, and you feel its cold, rough scales start to wrap around you. The feeling of being squeezed, that pressure, it builds, and the last thing you hear is Giovanni saying, "Team Rocket will rule the world, no matter what it takes," and you believe him. And then there's a sudden release of pressure as your skull pops like a balloon, almost as soon as your heart stops, and for a second, you feel the most unbearable pain in your life. But then there is darkness. Eternal darkness. That was the lab. Final thoughts? Extremely lazy. This was just mindless torture porn. Gross out horror is the easiest way out, and by far the weakest. This isn't gonna creep anyone out, just disgust them. I don't know why this was requested. Honestly, it doesn't deserve the analysis. That's it for this week's Creepypasta. Tune in again next Saturday when we do yet another video game Creepypasta. If you want to write your own story, help peer edit a story, or even just read the stories early, check out the description and you'll find a link to the Creepypasta section of my forum. You'll also find a playlist to every Creepypasta reading I've done. If you're interested in keeping up with me on my blog posts, join the Facebook fan page linked below, and if you want to support me in what I do, check out my Patreon page in the description. Remember that if you want your story to be read on the show, you must stay active on your post on the forums, as well as read the forum rules. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.